G'day guys, Bergie here and welcome to Not a Podcast. I have two very lovely ladies with me today. I'm the rose between two thorns this time round. We have Vikki and Kylie from Australian Women in Fishing. You can't miss it, it's right there. Strategically placed on your boobs. How are you ladies, you good?
Good.
We're amazing.
Yeah.
You're amazing, okay. So these guys are Australian Women in Fishing, and I've just got your paperwork here that you sent through, and I've had a good read of it, and I'm just going to read one part of it, and then I want you guys to elaborate on this. So about OSWIF. OSWIF, yeah, Australian Women in Fishing.
OSWIF.
There it is, OSWIF. Creating a community of women anglers is an empowering initiative. It's essential to foster an inclusive and supportive environment where women can come together to share their passion for fishing and build strong connections. We are about establishing and cultivating such a community. What are you talking about? What's the go? What are you guys all about? Go for it.
Okay.
Go.
Okay, so what we are trying to achieve, Vikki and I have both been in the industry for a long time. We know the ups and downs of being a woman in such a male-dominated area, and with the amount of women that have come, especially since COVID, onto the fishing scene, we want to create a place that they have safety. Okay. And we can teach them, we can educate them.
What do you mean safety? You don't think they were safe before?
Even me, walking into a tackle store to this day around the country, I get treated differently to a man.
I can actually see that.
Yeah.
I own a tackle store.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest, 99% of the women that walk in are a tag along with the husband.
Yep.
So it is easy to make the assumption that they're not into the fishing. And I know when I'm in there and I'm talking to somebody, half the time I'm just talking, I'm not even serving, I'm just talking to them. And I'll say that and I'll say, oh, you're just tagging along. And a lot of the ladies will say, well, no, I'm into it too. So I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
And I can see but that's got to change.
Yeah.
And I think it is.
Yeah.
Slowly, but I think with our education and making women more prominent and, arming them with the tools to walk into a tackle shop and know what they want and basically be treated as equal is a great thing.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see a few more ladies working in the tackle shop too. Actually, you know what? I'd love a girl working in my tackle shop.
Funny you say that. Coming back from AFTA, I reckon I seen maybe 4 ladies on a stand and,
good.
in the tackle industry, but
that's huge.
I would have loved to have seen more.
Yeah. Well, I guess, I think the opportunities are there, whether they actually want them or not, or the percentages are still maybe favouring men more so than women in terms of more men still want to fish.
Yeah.
It is that why are we seeing so many more girls? Why now? Why is that happening? I know you mentioned COVID.
Yeah.
But I know there's been a lot of women that have fished for years, but it just seems to be a lot more prominent. You see a lot more of it in social now, and you guys are making, why now?
I honestly believe that women are getting stronger and wanting to be out there more. They're down on the beaches, they're learning. Like even a couple of weeks ago, I was at a boat ramp in Wollongong and I had a 73-year-old grandmother trying to teach her grandkids how to fish, and she'd never fished.
Good. Oh, really?
Yeah, she wasn't a fisher. And so just having somebody that could give her a little bit of guidance has changed even her fishing.
And I think how it's perceived in social media makes a big difference as well. And we're seeing a lot of younger females coming up and it's okay to fish. When I grew up, there was a lot of fishing magazines. It was all male. You could flip every page. There was a male in every page. No women.
And if there was a female, it was the chick on the ugly stick and with the shirt pulled down between her legs. That all us young blokes paused on and went, whoa, and that was it.
And I think that, putting women in that, sexism kind of way is definitely changing. And, we want to be there to enforce that you don't need to be wearing your bikinis with a rod and a fish to actually get attention and be great at what you do.
Yeah, right. Okay. So a few other questions I have. What do you think some of the positive outcomes that you guys have seen since starting Aussie Women in Fishing? So people that have actually made contact with you and then you've seen an outcome from that.
Oh, and even just recently with Sasha and Joe.
Yeah.
So Sasha especially. So I met Sasha on a fishing charter with a female skipper here on the Gold Coast.
Oh, yeah.
So and so Sash hadn't fished for many, many years, and she'd had a really rough time. She's a foster carer.
Right.
And it was just really run down from all of that. And just me and her reaching out to each other and me being able to say, hey, you haven't fished for a long time, come over here and I'm gonna help you and guide you, has totally changed her life.
Yeah, that's so good.
And that's in this tiny
so you
little
kind
snippet.
you're probably more motivators than anything else, do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And showing them that there is an escape for, you know, to see someone's adrenaline like really pump up in that moment. Like people just assume, and probably more so ladies, if they're not introduced to fishing, assume that it's, I don't have time to sit and wait for a bite and things like that. But there's other things you've been doing to proactively fish, and then seeing them actually hook their first fish and that adrenaline, and to be able to share that moment with them is amazing. And then they take that on into their life and gives them a different perspective.
So from a practical standpoint, so someone watches this and they think, that's so good. I've liked fishing, or I've done it with my husband, but you know, I thought it was more of a guy thing. From a practical standpoint, how do they become more involved in what you guys are doing? What do they need to do?
Okay, so this is where we're in the process of developing all of our programs that we're going to be rolling out all over Australia. So they'll be able to come on to us, and then they'll know where we're going to be, so they can come and meet us at the local tackle store.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll have our tackle meeting, let the ladies feel and hold, and just, I think a big part of it too is getting them to learn the lingo of fishing. Once they learn the lingo of fishing, then they're more comfortable to walk into a tackle store to start with.
So there's a lot of education there.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, stacks.
And then after that, that's when we'll all head down over the weekend, or for the next week, we'll be down on the water. These ladies will be able to come down and be on the water. And where we're doing it totally different now, we've just brought on our psychologist.
Okay.
So we're actually going to have a psychologist down on the water with us, so that if something happens and a lady needs something extra, for them to have the comfort, because women, we don't look after ourselves in that respect, and yet we're the caregivers.
I don't think most people do, to be honest, whether they're girls or boys.
Yeah. So so that's where they'll be able to come down, and we'll have our listening corner, so that if they want to go and have a chat, then we'll have our listeners there, and then they can come back over, pick up their rod and reel, and be able to have that outlet for their own mental health as well.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
That's pretty cool.
And just on another, we want to create an industry for women, so that if they want to work in the industry and things like that, we want to kind of help guide them and create an actual industry and make our business, you know, an industry-based business that they can fulfill and work in and guide other women in. And we want to be able to have, I've written a few articles in my time and things like that. So
you have. I've read a lot of them. You've been around, Vikki.
I've been around. So we want to be able to create a blogging website for them to be able to gain that experience, share their stories, you know, podcasts as well that aren't a podcast. Basically, share women's stories and, you know, get them out there and, you know,
I think it's great.
them.
I think one of the things that's massively underestimated about recreational fishing is the fact that it impacts that many people in terms of their in terms of their mental health.
Yeah.
Right?
Massive.
I know so many blokes that I've met, guys we've had on the show, I know me personally, that without that outlet, and everyone finds their own thing, right? Guys are very hobby orientated, as you know, like whether it's motorbikes or cars or whatever, probably more so than women, right? They are. And I think fishing for many of us blokes is definitely a way to put everything behind you but maybe women need that more than what they realise. And then having that psychologist along to be able to so you're not only getting them out in the outdoors, which is a really positive thing to begin, getting that vitamin D, fishing, which is a really positive thing to do, and being in an environment, a safe environment where they can hang out with peers and other ladies. And then, if things are going a little pear-shaped in their life, they've got that opportunity to have a chat. I mean, what a great thing.
Yeah, got a safe community.
Yeah.
I know there's a solicitor I know that runs like safety salons as well. So anyone that's in a safety salon, so you book in a haircut and the solicitor would sit next to you in the same haircut. There's nobody else in there, and if they're in a DV situation, there's nothing.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
and so,
we've got to think outside the box, don't we?
Yeah.
So we want to be able to create that community as well for women.
Massive.
That can.
I think you've got a job in front of you.
I'm massive.
Yeah.
Like, it's huge.
Yeah. It's huge.
Wow. Well,
We're very excited, and it's our passion.
Yeah.
So we just we thrive on that.
Well, let's talk about you guys individually. Why'd you laugh for? You're worried, aren't you? She's worried what I'm going to ask her. Key moments in your life that really stand out, that made you think, well, you know what? Fishing really is for me. I love this. Do you guys have them?
Yeah.
Go.
Being able to capture a land-based marlin
on
off
12
Jervis Bay
kilo,
on 10
wasn't it?
kilo
On 10
line.
kilo, yeah.
It was a shame that my scales weren't certified, so I didn't get recognised as an Australian record, but I know I'd be one of the few women that have caught.
I know of no other woman on that exact spot.
Rocks.
I hooked a marlin there, never landed it.
Yeah, I've hooked 3,
Oh.
but I've only landed 1.
Yeah, wow. So that was the moment?
That was the
mind
moment.
you, there must have been something before that, because to be off the
definitely.
rocks and putting, because it's a huge effort, right? You got to get in there, you get your liveys, the whole thing. Like, it's massive effort.
It was years of effort.
Years of effort.
Yeah.
That's right. But surely there was a point earlier in your life where you thought, you know what, I love this.
Yeah. So we used to camp up on...
Mate, it's always a dad's story, isn't it?
Used to camp on Stewart's River and Stewart's Point there on the Macleay River, and that was our family holiday. And nippering was the best
how much fun
ever.
as a kid.
So you'd be running around chasing the nippers, putting them in the bucket. My brother hated fishing.
Right.
So I'd always volunteer to be with Dad and the tinny and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was the only time we fished. So when we got back to normal day life, there was no fishing, wouldn't even consider it.
Right.
And so then the light bulb moment for me was when I met my husband, Scott, when I was 19. And he goes, oh, you could go out with me, but I'm just warning you, I love fishing. Oh, that's great. I love fishing too.
When
are you going to take me? So
I say couples that fish together stay together.
Yeah. So he made me wait.
What?
He made me wait. We were in between seasons. We met in October, and I think he made me wait till the end of November to take me fishing.
Okay.
It was just down on the local rocks.
Didn't want to turn you off.
No, well, he waited. He was smart. He waited for the pelagics to turn up.
So you get into it.
I've never used a rod and reel, so he'd cast out for me, show me how to cast, and then tell me how to wind it back, and I hooked a kingfish off the rocks. So I've never experienced anything like that in my life, because Dad was brim and flatted on
100%.
nippers and things. So that really sparked my interest.
Yeah.
So
that's really hunting, isn't it? And to hook a fish that's really big and really pulls hard.
Yeah.
It's a very exciting feeling.
I was hooked, and he knew exactly what he was doing. So, so from then on, I educated myself. I read magazines, and then he was smart too, because he's like, well, I don't want to be stopping every 5 minutes and getting my girlfriends, rigging up and doing this and doing that. So he taught me as well. He took the time to teach as well. And
smart man. Did he propose like halfway through the battle?
It took 21 years to
20 slack ass.
Apprenticeship.
Right.
So he was smart in that sense. So we and then we learnt together, like, as I progressed through my fishing and stuff. So I was able to teach back him as well some things. So.
Of course. Absolutely. And what about you, Kylie? Was there a moment?
When I was little, so I grew up in a really bad domestic violence family.
Right.
And we had a caravan down at Windang, and I would go fishing. I was this tiny little girl.
Where I grew up fishing in Windang.
Yeah. So little girl, and I had my own little boat.
Wow.
And from a really young age, I figured out that if I rowed up the end of the island on a run-in tide, I'd get spat out back down near Bull Island.
Gosh, you're bringing back some memories.
Yeah. So fishing for me was my escape when I was a little girl. And because everyone in the park encouraged me, because I was just the little girl that was always walking around with a fishing rod.
Brilliant.
So I had all of these amazing men and my mum. My mum's an amazing angler. So my first flathead was caught right on the red buoy at the end of Windang.
Oh, serious? Know it well.
Yeah. So, and then I've used fishing my whole life from there. Whenever just life's got hard, I've just gone fishing and gone and pulled up. Like when we lived at Pheasant's Nest, so I had some beautiful bass creeks and stuff like that ran through our property. So I was really lucky.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so good. And you in particular lead a very unique life. Obviously, Vikki's got this very successful business in real estate, which I've known about for many years and watched you from afar, and you've absolutely killed it. And Kylie, you live this incredible life that we all got. Isn't it funny? You think back 20, 30 years, if someone lived in a van by the water, they're a dero.
Yeah.
Now, I want that.
Yeah.
So you're on the road.
Yeah.
24/7.
24/7.
Towing your boat.
Yeah.
And just out there with your partner.
And my mum. So my mum, I'm full-time carer for my mum
And she comes with you too.
So we bought my mum a mobile home when we sold our house straight away.
Wow.
So, we've taken mum all the way around the country with us and ticked off all of her big bucket lists.
Wow.
And so I'm very lucky. So almost 3 years now. We've been, almost 3 years.
Are you still loving it?
It gets better and better every day.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I remember you talking to one of our guys, Will, and you were telling him, because we met you on a road trip, and you were telling him that sometimes you'll come to a particular place and you're not sure if you're going to go left or right, so you flip a coin.
Yes.
Is that serious?
Yeah, so we've got...
I don't know how you live your life like that. I'm very envious of that, to be honest.
And I think that you have to be a very different kind of person to do it.
Oh, you're different.
They've just done 2,000 Ks to meet me back down here.
Different is good.
Yeah. So, and that's since we seen you at AFTA, we've been up to Longreach. So had to head out there. So a lady that was really instrumental in helping me get to where I did with my fishing many years ago, Annette McBride. So she was the one that got me at AFTA many moons ago. And so after AFTA, got on the phone to her and she's like, get your bum up here and let's work through some stuff.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's so good. And what about, I was talking about travelling destinations. Do you have what's your favourite destination that you potentially would love or been to before, and what's your dream destination?
So Scott and I have birthdays 3 weeks apart.
Right.
So we're same age. So for his 40th, I booked him a trip to Melville Island and we went over and experienced that, and that was amazing. But I do have a dream for a sailfish, to catch a sailfish. So
Never caught a sailfish yet?
Never caught a sailfish yet.
Oh, we need to remedy that. Yeah, okay.
So that's one of my dreams.
Any particular place you want to do it?
I don't know. I've just heard about Broome, but perhaps Broome would be nice.
Broome's a good spot to do it.
But I don't own a passport. Funny thing about me, I only have been in Australia.
Because there's obviously romping you can go over.
Yeah.
We did that and it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it would be.
But I reckon it's better in Australia.
Yeah, I agree. And I've got no desire. People look at me weird, but I'm like, I've got no desire. There's so many places in Australia.
If I had to choose between going back there and fishing in Australia, hands down be in Australia.
Yeah.
There's no...
Agree.
Yeah. And I actually find it quite frustrating. I've got my relatives here from America at the moment. They've travelled all over the world. Yet my brother-in-law, Aussie bloke, he's basically seen nothing of this country, his own country.
Yeah.
And there are so many amazing fishing destinations that we've been trying to promote for a long, long time. So my suggestion, Western Australia.
Yeah.
What about you, mate? I mean, you've travelled high and low and all over the shop.
So we pulled up in Exmouth and we didn't leave for 6, almost 7 months.
You're right. Yeah. Exmouth's pretty special.
Oh, divine. But I never fished. I fished one day in the whole time. I was in the water. I actually spent all of my time in the water.
Right, okay.
So I had some of the most epic days that Vikki would have shot me. I had sailfish free jumping around the boat and in this crystal clear water. I had a rod there fully set up for it, but I couldn't bring myself to throw at them.
Why not?
Because I'd just been in the water interacting. Like, I've got videos of me in the middle of this massive school of GTs, just thousands of them just swimming around me. But it was just, it's
I would have
something.
jumped in and stabbed one in the face.
I know, but there was something. It was something.
Yeah,
there was
magical.
something so different, so
100%.
different. And we wanted to keep going further up, but then the floods hit.
Right.
So for me, Broome that's where I really want to go and get some fishing done.
Broome's beautiful.
Yeah.
You'll love Broome. Okay. Well, you got some places that you haven't been to before and you really want to go to.
Yeah.
Now, what is it? You mentioned it before downstairs. Female pheromones. What is it? This is a thing. I'm telling you. Because the amount of guys that say, "Oh yeah, I'll bring my wife along, but she shits me because she always catches the biggest fish." No, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
I've heard this for years and years and years. Like the guy says, "Oh, I do everything for her." And then, and then she sits there and I'll put the bait on and then she ends up pulling in this fish. And I'm thinking, how does she do that? And it happens all the time. I've been on charters with multiple people. One of the girls on the boat doesn't really know what she's doing, catches the biggest fish. What is it?
I think men try too hard.
Yeah.
I really do. I think, and you see it a lot, even at the gym, where it's, muscles, look at me. And I think the lady comes up and just goes, oh, well, if it happens, it happens and whatever. And I just think that, the psychology and men trying too hard and things
And when you're holding onto the rod, like if you're sitting there and you're holding onto the rod, then you are still transferring your energy down the line.
Well, now we're getting a little bit... this is not Byron Bay, mate, all right? Okay. Got the energy going down the line. Well, hey, it could be. I don't know. That could be. But there is definitely a thing.
Yeah, there is.
100%.
It's a weird thing, and it really pisses blokes off.
Yeah.
That's great.
Which is good, I mean, in all honesty, before talking to you, I was sort of thinking, like, is it really necessary to have a group that's, like, just for women? Like, can't it be just a fishing group for people?
Yeah, it can, but I just think I want that comfortability and like men do like to want to, beat their chest and win at all costs and things. So I think it needs, for us, it's having a woman feel comfortable and being able to learn in her own time and space.
With a group of ladies.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think it's a good thing.
And with us going out remotely too, because we're going to be going more remote. We're not just going to the cities. We're going to be at places like Longreach and Mount Isa and all of these different places where I've found, even just being out there over the last few weeks, so the men go pig hunting, the women go fishing and camping.
Yeah, right.
They take the kids fishing and camping.
Really?
Yeah. So we're going to be able to utilise that with all of these farming women. We're going to come into a pretty heavy drought.
Yeah.
Like everything that's saying and being out there, it is so dry already. And so then we're going to have this other place that these country women can come to and be able to talk as well.
Yeah.
So that's where our whole community base is going to come into it. We're building a community that everyone can get together in.
That could only ever be positive.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a really good thing. What are your thoughts on this? Like, so we've been doing a bit of research overseas and whatever have you on fishing and putting in keywords and hashtags and all the rest of it. And the amount of chicks in G-bangers with the boobs and bums out, and they're getting the eyeballs though.
Yeah.
Like they are getting the eyeballs, and there's some YouTubers even here in Australia that were doing okay by bringing in the girlfriend, and oh my Lord, they've just gone through the roof, right?
Yeah.
Sex sells, I suppose.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
It does, and I think each to their own. For me...
That's such a safe answer. Such a safe answer.
You won't find me. I mean, I've been through melanoma and everything through COVID and things like that, so all I can say is I hope they've got their sunscreen and zinc on. And then if you've got it and you want to flaunt it. But, yeah, I think depends what message you want to send out and, how seriously you want to be taken with what you do and things like that. If you want a career in
does it
fishing...
bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me. Like, I've seen it for many years and, I don't know. I'm happy at the moment. I've built some muscle. I'm happy to get me little tanks on and show me muscle. But probably don't have the other assets. But it doesn't bother me. And
do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing for women in fishing?
I don't. But that's the thing. Like, it's all subjectable, isn't it? Like, but for us, it's not somewhere that we're going. And we both joked the other day about how long we've been doing this for, and our front cover magazines and stuff, and we can proudly say we never did NAFA and we never got our boobs out, because we're fishing, we're here to fish. We're not here for you to look at our bits.
Well, I think that was most definitely, obviously, fishing magazines have been targeted at men for that many years, right? So they're obviously doing that, not for women,
No.
but for men to have a perv, right?
Yeah.
And to sell more magazines. So just like any other magazine does when they introduce, women in those situations. So is it a negative thing? Well, for me personally, I actually think it is.
Yeah.
I actually think it is a bit of a negative thing, because really you're getting a...
Not getting a like for the fish and the...
Yeah, it's a bit of a false.
But then it's no different if you walk down the beach these days, right?
Yeah.
They're like, wow.
I suppose. I don't know. Look,
Like the generations
like you
have
say,
changed, and I don't think it's perceived in the same way it probably was back in the
Most definitely
70s,
not.
80s,
Yeah.
Most definitely
because
not.
you can walk down the beach these days and exactly all the bikinis are all
Bloody.
G-bangers,
They are.
and it's
great.
just like, you got grandma over here, but, and not so much. But, I don't think it's perceived in the same way it was back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
But I was also looking at a photo of a lady just recently, and looking at all of her fish photos, and some of her fish photos were amazing, and then all of a sudden I got to the bikini section and I'm like, you've
Why?
just lost me.
Yeah.
Like, you're a good angler. Why do you have to put that out
I
there?
think because so many people, their self-esteem is caught up in the likes.
Yeah.
And so they're doing that because I put out a photo of myself holding a fish and I get 20 likes. From ladies around the country. I put out one with my boobs out. I'm going to get 2,000 likes. And that's going to make me feel great. And that's the saddest thing about social media.
Yeah, and mental health.
And mental health too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to get your views on that, because that is still fairly prevalent these days, and it seems to be growing in just about every segment of every sport. So within fishing, though, it's always kind of been there, and although we're not seeing the ads in the magazines like we used to.
Exactly.
That's definitely changed.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about? I mean, the mic's open. Now's the time. What do you want to talk about? Like, is there anything else you'd like to sort of tell women out there? Any message that you've got for them?
Yeah, I just think that, embrace it, bring it on. Kylie and I are here to support everybody throughout.
So the website's the best way to contact you guys?
Our website, we're just in the process of getting that up and running. So through our social medias at the moment.
So best on Facey?
Yeah. So
Facey,
we've got the
Insta.
group and the page and Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's just
Australian Women in Fishing. It's a very open group. There's no malice or anything with anybody.
Yeah.
There's no advertising. It's just a safe place to be in. And websites are a few weeks off. So, and just about to get released there. So we've got our contact details on the page as well, or direct message if you want to as well. We will be running a National Fishing Day program, and looking at a couple, one on the salt and one on the fresh, to cater for some of the country and some of the city folk. So
we'll have a psychologist there as well. We've already got that all lined up. So we're
kind of cool.
We're going straight into
It's really interesting
there.
with the psychologist though. Like I just don't know initially, until trust is built, until they sort of feel, that they're even going to speak to them. But just to have that I think
there's no pressure, and they're just there. And I think without even knowing it, sometimes you're talking as you're learning and as you're having and sharing those experiences, things come out. So I think it's just a really open, conversations that doesn't have to be formalised and things like that. Obviously, their confidentiality is important, but we just want to make it feel that it's easy.
So the industry, the fishing industry has pretty much been the same for a very, very long time. A lot of old dudes running tackle stores. The after show is just, it's always been the same. You know, it new products all the time, but a lot of the time they're the new products with just a different spin on them or whatever, different colours and all that sort of thing. That aside, in terms of the industry itself and the recreational fishing industry, what would you like to see changed the most? What would help women in fishing the most?
More women in it.
Yeah.
More enterprises, more women working in the industry. I think would make a huge difference with women in the industry.
Yeah.
The stigma is still very much there as far as a male-orientated sport. And I suppose more men welcoming women into the industry as well. So.
Yeah. Do you think women want it though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the reason I ask that, right, and this is fairly controversial, but they talk about women in sport and how they should be paid the same amount of money and all those sorts of things, right? And one in particular came up, and I saw this on a podcast, and they're talking about the women's NBA basketball. And they basically, I'm pretty sure they run a loss every year, and they just don't get it. So there's all these women on these talk shows and all this. It's crap, you know, they should be paid the same. And a guy asked them, okay, well, can you name 5 WNBA players? And she couldn't do it. And then they said, well, how many times have you actually been to a WNBA game and actually supported the girls?
Yeah.
She goes, I've never been. So, you know, you kind of think, okay, you want it to be equal, but is the interest there, is the real support there from your own sex to, whereas blokes, you know, they could name nearly every player in the NBA and they've been to heaps of games.
Yeah.
You know, they support it more heavily and they'll watch it on TV. When was the last time you watched women in sport on TV?
Yeah.
That was the other question. Oh, I don't. But there should be some sort of equality. Can you see how that maybe reflects in the fishing industry as well?
So I have a really good answer to that one.
Oh, I love it. Bring it on.
I was talking to a psychologist not all that long ago, and he said, Kylie, you're asking me for equality? I'll answer you if you say that you're a bricklayer, because there's only 1% of women in the world that are bricklayers. I'm actually a bricklayer by trade. So I can demand the equality from that side. And I went and did Nicole, the Women's Fishing Classic this year. Mm-hmm. So there was, with her juniors, she had 200 women that were there. These women are looking for somewhere. Right. They are looking for a space. There is no space for them.
Right.
Even us as ABT anglers, when we were doing ABT angling and stuff like that, it's not a safe environment for a woman. There's no real protocols where they talk about, right, you as a female on a boat, here's your bucket. Let's talk to the men about what they need to do as boaters.
Okay.
And then you get into the situation where these women want to do it. They go and do one. It's a really rough experience. Even though they've got all these great anglers, it's still hard. You're still weeing off the back of someone's boat.
Yeah.
You still got all of these barriers that women can't get over. Whereas now the safe spaces are being created like women, like Nicole, and the women want it. They just want it.
They do.
They really, really do.
And back in the heyday, even when you started a tournament, there used to be female sections and male sections.
Yeah.
Some of the tournaments we fished are open, but you know, the male might win a prize pack, a rod, reel or something like that, and the woman would win a bottle of wine.
Champers.
And you would just like, oh, okay, thanks. I really want that rod and reel.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so we've seen it all along the tournament scene even, and just how that's evolving and changing.
Yeah, so that's a different thing, isn't it? Like men versus women in sport.
Yeah.
Like in a physical sport like football or whatever have you, obviously men are going to be more dominant, right?
Yeah.
Because they're bigger and stronger, and that's just the way we are.
Yeah.
Right? That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
But in fishing,
Leveler.
Yeah.
it's a leveler,
It's a
mate.
leveler.
Straight up. If not,
And
it
it
goes
should
the
be.
other way a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it should be exactly the same.
Exactly.
You win a rod and reel, they win a rod and reel.
Yeah.
That's how it should
Yeah.
be, because it's there's no physical attribute that a male has
No.
that's going to make him a better angler than a woman.
Exactly right.
So, yeah, no, that's I think then what you're saying is that in the past, men have just assumed that it's for men, and that needs to change.
Yes.
And so men need to have a bit of a think about this and think about what are some of the things men need to do? How do we change as blokes? Like, how do we change it? So I've said to you, ladies coming into the tackle store, I have learned not to make that assumption.
Yes.
Right?
They're probably going to spend more money than a bloke.
Yeah.
And we actually this is going back, this is when I first got into the tackle, so about 4 years ago. We had a review from a lady that came into the store and said she was ignored, right? And we so pride ourselves on our service. Everyone that walks in the door gets a g'day, mate.
Yeah.
And
You got to stop there. G'day, mate.
Yeah.
what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? G'day, mate. And we'll talk to everybody that comes in, but that she felt that she was kind of ignored and whatever, and that sort of really got, oh, guys, and we were all like, we actually felt really bad about that.
Yeah.
Right, we did. So we've changed our perception now, and you can never judge a book by its cover. Okay, so I think as blokes, that's one example, but I think as blokes, we have to start thinking that these girls do want, what can we do to make their life a little more comfortable?
Yeah.
How do we make it?
Involve them, help educate.
Yeah.
Not just I'll do it for you or it's too hard and things. Even to the fact that, we reverse trailers and park trailers and things like that. And and most women are like, oh, I have to do this. And
I'll tell you what, a woman reversing a trailer is a very sexy thing. I promise you that, mate. Especially when she gets it first go. Oh, baby.
Because we've been involved and we are being educated and things like that. So, help educate, because you're just going to make a stronger woman, and she's going to be a leveler by your side the whole way, whether it's females and males, whatever. But, it's a leveler, education.
Education.
Yeah.
So come on, blokes that are watching, give them a go. Get the missus out there.
Yeah.
I often see this, if we're doing a signing day or we're doing a meet and greet or whatever have you, I meet a lot of dads and their kids, whether it's a boy or a girl.
Yep.
And it's more dads fishing with kids than it is mums fishing with kids.
Yes.
And there's something that I've been telling a lot of guys for years and years and years, and it's nothing that big, but, I know for me growing up, fishing when I was younger, my dad hated fishing. Hated it. But my mum forced him to take me. So I'd go and we'd have time together. And even though I knew he didn't really want to be there, it's still some of the fondest memories that I've ever had. And it sort of, got me going. And I say to these guys when I meet them, do you realise the time you're spending with your son or your daughter now is going to help shape the person they become? Right? It absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
It makes such a big difference. So I think mums underestimate that time is special for them too. And seeing your child out there in nature doing something that's really positive and, getting that rush and the joy, I think if they spend a little bit more time going with them, because maybe sometimes they think, oh, it's my break, or whatever it might be, not being there. But I think maybe if they involve themselves a little bit more, and the dads are a little bit more inclusive of the mum rather than it's just me and the kids, we're off doing our thing, or me and my son.
Yeah.
I think the mums will really enjoy seeing what the enjoyment the kids get.
Yeah, I get looked at really weirdly because I spend 8-10 hours, at a time on a boat with my husband, and people look at me going, oh, that's the time I spend to get away from my wife or get away from my husband or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's our quality time together. That's time where we've got no other distractions. Yeah. We get to talk. We get to really connect. Yeah. And there's no work. There's no, nothing, no electronics. And it's just connection time, quality time. And I'd love to see that throughout families,
But I think that I'm starting to see it a lot more. Since we left 3 years ago, I see more ladies down on the jetties with kids than what I do men.
Well, one thing I've noticed, I don't see that as much, but I do see it on social media.
Yeah.
A lot more women are posting and they're really encouraging other people and they're doing really well. I think you may know a lady we had on the show, Jackie, the American. Do you know Jackie?
I know Jackie.
You know Jackie. Yeah. I mean, she is such a great advocate for women. So we have obviously a members base.
Yes.
And people say to me, why don't you have more women on the show? And I say, well, look, I don't like being outfished. So, no, I'm just joking. That's not why. 98% of our members are men.
Yes.
All right, and they're chosen randomly. So if we left it just to randomness...
Oh, well, we better make sure the women
sign up. But if we left it to randomness, it would be always men. You'd very rarely ever get a woman. So we actually make a conscious... So it's actually not fair on the men. We make a conscious decision that every season we're going to bring a lady on the show.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I've got to say, some of the trips that we've done with the girls have been some of my favourites because not only were they and physically, sometimes she found it a little tough and I'd have to take her over on a big GT or something like that.
Yeah.
But she gave it everything, mate. She went after it. And the joy that she was getting from catching these fish she's never caught before, I was taken back by it. Like, I really was. I was thinking, you love this just as much as the blokes. There's no doubt about it. So enthusiastic, such a great advocate. And then we also had a lady on called Ranger Annie. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah, remember Ranger Annie.
She, again, is another one where she just loves it.
Yeah.
And that passion that potentially I'd never really seen in women before, it is more prevalent now than ever.
Yeah.
So we are loving it. We're getting more and more women members all the time.
And you would, if you start showcasing that, then they feel connected.
100%.
You know,
They've got to hang out with my fat ass for a week, but and it is a real blokey kind of environment, like a camera crew, all blokes and all the rest of it. Yeah, you've done that. That's right. We did one together. How long ago was that?
Oh, I don't know, was it 5 years ago or
Keep
something?
going, sister.
Maybe longer.
I've been up here now. I reckon it's probably 10 years.
Yeah.
Holy
yeah.
smokes,
Wow,
we're
time
getting old,
flies.
mate.
Yeah.
Oh, greys. I didn't have greys then. Yeah,
And that's what we want to do too. Like when we've got our women down on the water and we're actually going to surprise them, a couple of lucky ones wherever we are, and we're going to take them out and we're going to Mark Berg them on their own waterway.
How dare you? Steal our idea. I think that's great.
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
That's so, and they normally wouldn't be able to do it.
No, or have that opportunity or,
Yeah, that
And
is
particularly
sensational. Why hasn't there ever been a fishing show that is hosted purely by a woman?
So a friend of ours only the other day. So she has got a TV show in South Australia, and she had the television company turn around and say to her, "We will put you on prime time if you put two young ones with bikinis on." And she turned around and said, "Absolutely not."
That doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
And that's the thing. Like people, the mainstream media still want to see boobs and bums. They don't want to actually acknowledge the fact that we are amazing anglers within our own right, and be able to publicise that. They're still stuck in the past.
I wonder how many wives would love their husbands sitting there watching that show if they had boobs and bums.
Yeah.
I know if I was watching it, my wife walked in, she'd go, "Really?
Yeah.
I know.
What are you really watching this for?"
Yep.
And blokes are blokes, right? Pathetic when it comes to that sort of stuff. But realistically, out of respect to her, I wouldn't watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're all
I don't know.
different.
Maybe Kylie and I'll be the first.
Yeah.
You never know. You never, ever know. Well,
So I think there's some really amazing young women out there too, like Michelle and Nikki, like these just ridiculous, amazing young female anglers that I honestly believe that Michelle will be one of the faces.
the next
of
Rex Hunt.
I honestly do believe she's going to be the face of fishing. She's got a smile that lights up
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Really? So
I'd
she
really
was
like
at
to know.
AFTA.
Was she?
Yeah,
Well, that doesn't
yeah.
mean much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people
Yeah,
at
so-
AFTA.
I was going to say.
Yeah, so
Did I
she's-
meet her?
I don't know. I don't know.
Not
She was
sure.
on the Black Magic stand.
No, I didn't meet her.
So she's a remarkable
So she's doing some
young
good
woman.
stuff. She's making some
Yeah,
content.
Yeah.
It's on television, but
Yeah.
just in South Australia.
No, this one's in
This one's
Victoria,
Victoria.
Melbourne.
Just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
on that channel 32 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be good to sort of get her to another level, though. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that there's some really amazing women out there that have the ability and the talent, and they just getting overlooked because they aren't men.
Yeah. Well, I guess it takes a long time to turn a big ship, doesn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah, and I think it's about to turn.
Yeah.
It's in the process.
Yeah.
It's-
Although I don't think that we're turning the ship. I reckon we're letting you guys have your ship over there and we're building our own.
No, don't do that. Let's do it together.
Exactly. Yeah,
Let's do it
Yeah,
together.
no,
together.
but I still
That's
think
I'll
that we
be honest
need
with you.
to-
I see all these women movements around the world, and it's almost like the male is now the enemy.
No,
And it shouldn't be like
shouldn't be.
that.
No, I
because
agree.
you know what?
We're
Us
not
blokes, we want to
man-haters.
see you do well.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like, if
See, but you're different. There's still a lot of old ones out there.
well, screw 'em, what impact
that's
do they
right.
actually make though?
Yeah.
Like, what voice do they really have?
Yeah.
They don't have
I think
one,
it's
right?
very outdated. Yeah.
It is. And if
Yeah.
you think about the actual recreational fishing industry, the AFTA of the world, all those people that are there, and I've got some amazing friendships there, right? And connections I've had for years, and I respect so many of those awesome people. But they are 1%, not even
Yeah.
1% of the 5 million, 6 million people that fish in Australia.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, they have the products and, they might be in certain parts of social media, but realistically, the people are the recreational fishing industry.
Yes.
All right. So they're just a very small piece of it. So if there are some old dudes with old school mentalities and stuff, that's them.
Yeah.
And then the other old bait fishos that hate women in fishing, well, no one sees or hears from them anyway.
No.
So it's changing, and you guys have now got a voice through social.
Yeah, socials have changed
Which is
a lot of things.
socials has changed a lot as well.
Yep.
And I think that what you're doing is absolutely brilliant, and you have our support 100%.
Thank you.
As long as you don't catch a big fish than me. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. We have to get you guys on the show.
I'll hand you the rod over.
Yeah.
I might have to hand it to you. I'll be too tired. I can't get
You'll
this.
have to just take us to Broome then.
Well, maybe we will. Maybe we will. Are you members? No.
Yes,
Sign up.
yes, I am.
Please.
Yes, we are.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, oh, gosh.
Because
no pressure.
because there was a whole fishing association I didn't think I could be for a while, but I think that's all changed now. So
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. Ladies, is there anything else you'd like to add before we round up our little chat? Is there any questions you might have for me, or anything else you'd like to add about what you guys are doing?
Well, for you, you now know where we're heading and how we're headed. What are your thoughts, and what advice can you give us moving forward?
Yeah. Well, I've been around for a bit, so I think, gosh, that's a really great question, and I don't really know, because it's uncharted waters.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I just think you need to get in front of as many people as you can, right? Do as many of these things as you can, and push for it, right?
Yep.
Push for it, and just keep that positivity. It's infectious. It's really, really exciting. And I also do believe, though, that yes, you're doing this for women, but you're also, I think men need to be part of it, one way or another, because if you can't go against what's in place, you just need to change what's in place.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
and
educate
that's
the men
the
as
thing,
well.
we can't, and we can't
softly,
say
softly,
no.
because if you go
Guns
men versus
blazing.
women,
No.
you're going to lose.
Yeah, and we're not into that.
Because, and that's good.
It's all
But
inclusive.
we've got to have the dads that bring the young girls down. And,
Oh, man, so
and
important.
Like they're what is going to grow our industry, these young girls and stuff now.
You know what was so exciting? There was a guy there that had been on our show and many years ago, and Greensill is his last name, and he brought I'm just going to get my notes and get her name, because I want to say her name, because she's a great little kid.
Yeah.
Here we go. So her name is Abby Greensill, and I think she's 15, and she just won Junior Female Champion Angler for women in rec fishing.
So she's the one that I've actually got an interview with in the next few days.
Brilliant. Well, I put it on the guys at Wilson while she was there to sponsor her.
Awesome.
He called the general. He couldn't say no, because she's right there. Sorry, Cord. I know I put you on but they said, yeah, well, we're going to do this. We're going to put it together. We're going to support you, right? But to see this young girl with her dad, and she loves it. She absolutely loves it. And he's telling me, and the pride in his face, I'm getting a little bit emotional watching what's going on. It was just fantastic. It was just so exciting. So I think dads... So my advice is to encourage dads just as much as mums.
Yeah.
Take your girls fishing, right?
Yeah. I know more than my dad. Like, he's proud of it. He's proud as punch.
You know more than your dad?
Yeah, for fishing wise and things, and just he's watched my journey and he's proud as punch. So, and I think that's important.
I took my daughter's never really been massively into fishing, but I took her to Weipa a couple of years ago for something we did there. And I have caught probably, seriously, I don't know, thousands of mangrove jacks, right, in the years, thousands of them. And I've never caught one over 50 centimetres. Like 49 and a half. And, just always, and it was just one of those things. Her first mangrove jack was 52 centimetres.
Oh, wicked.
Bitch!
Wicked.
But you know what?
Say that about your daughter.
I was so pissed at the time.
How old was she?
She's 18.
Oh, she would have been there going, suck it,
you have
Dad.
no idea, mate. She gave it to me, and she still does, right?
Love it.
But I got to say, there was this pride that welled up in me, like, that's my girl.
Yeah.
That was an awesome moment that we got to share together, and the photos of those together we have that
Memories.
now forever and ever and ever, and that's special.
bonding, yeah.
It is time spent on the water with your kids, or your partner, or whatever, And we talked about it before too. Before we got up here, even sitting around a campfire and having the fire going and having real conversations with no mobile phones and all those sorts of things. That's all part of the outdoors, and those sorts of things happen on boats as well. They happen on a jetty somewhere. Those connections that you create. Yeah. So I think the advice I can give you guys is don't stop. Just stay positive. Call on people that you know in the industry and don't be scared to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You might think, I don't want to intrude. Screw them. Go for it. Right?
Yeah.
Intrude. If
you.
you've got information, see, how many followers do you have on Facebook right now?
We're up to just under 1,300 now.
Okay. So it's a bee's dick, right?
Yeah.
You need to share it, but then you need to send it to me, to other dudes that have got big followings, and just say, please share this. Can you help us out, guys?
Yeah.
Please share it. And just it needs to go like that, right? And don't rely on your own little thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
You need to share it. So call on people in the industry to help you.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
What's their reason not to?
Yeah.
Call on the manufacturers. You think about it. If we open up women's fishing, right, to the point where you guys are at, the industry gets bigger.
Yeah.
They sell more stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So it's their responsibility to help you guys.
Yeah.
That's like what we were talking about. So we get 1,000 women to spend $500 a year. That's almost that's $500,000.
That's
That's
nothing.
nothing.
Like, that's
compared
nothing.
to what you
And
guys.
that's just 1,000
potential.
women.
That's exactly right. The potential's huge, massive, right?
Yeah.
So call on these guys in the industry to help you guys out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's their responsibility, and I think they'll have there's so many great people in our industry. They'll do it. You're with a brand for many years. It doesn't matter that you're not with them anymore.
Yeah.
Put it on them, and I'm sure that they will help you.
Yeah.
So reach out. That's
Thank you.
really
Yeah.
important. Keep doing it. Stay positive, and include men one way or another. Keep us boys in there, because you know what? I think you'll probably find. Oh man,
There's a lot of men that don't know how to fish too, right?
That's right.
That's right.
So
But
they
not,
need to
not
teach
just
their
that. I just
kids.
think most of the blokes that I know that are good people in the industry will never ever think, oh, women in fishing. They'll think, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a positive thing, and I think you'll find most guys. And again, don't judge us because I think most of us would love to see you guys out there.
Yeah.
More women in fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good thing.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And it builds friendships for life. We've been, over 20 years of
Serious?
friendship.
Yeah. So we used to fish together 20 years ago together.
Just builds friends for life. So
That's a positive thing.
Yeah.
It's all positive. It's all love. All right. We're signing off. We done, girls? You said what you want to say?
Yeah.
Nothing else to add? Thanks for watching. They're two awesome chicks. Get behind them. Check out their website. It'll be coming out soon. But also go to their Facebook page. Give them some love, ladies. Remember what I said? Women not supporting women. Support other women that are having a crack, right? And they're having a crack. And we absolutely love that. So go to the Facebook page, which is Australian. I'm reading it straight off the thing. Australian Women in Fishing. Go to their Facebook page. Instagram.
yes, Instagram is Oswif. Yeah.
Facebook. You got TikTok.
Yeah, we've started it, but I don't know how to do it yet. So I'll ask for help.
I don't know what they're doing on TikTok, but wherever you can, get on there, give them a like, share your experiences. That's really important.
Yeah.
Share your experiences out there. Let these guys know that you love it as well, and be connected and create this amazing community that is just going to grow and grow and grow and grow.
Yeah.
We're behind you.
Thank you.
100%.
Thank you so much.
Peace.